The story revolves around a struggling young woman named Eun-yi, who works at a bustling city restaurant and shares a cramped apartment with her best friend and co-worker. Longing for a better life, she applies for a live-in housemaid position in an elite household. She is interviewed by Miss Cho, an older woman who also works as a maid for the family. Miss Cho has been tasked to hire a younger maid who can handle childcare and housework. After careful assessment, she chooses Eun-yi. Upon arrival at the residence, Eun-yi meets the lady of the house, Hae-ra, who is heavily pregnant with twins. Hae-ra is displeased to learn that Miss Cho never informed Eun-yi about the twins, but Eun-yi assures them it is not an issue. Her duties begin immediately. Miss Cho instructs her to wash Hae-ra's laundry, warning that the underwears will likely reek of urine due to the pregnancy. Eun-yi handles the task without flinching. Later that day, Hae-ra's young daughter, Nami, returns from school. Eun-yi greets her with enthusiasm. Miss Cho introduces Eun-yi as the new nanny, but Nami offers only a polite acknowledgement and heads straight to her room. Eun-yi makes an effort to connect, yet the child remains distant despite her courtesy. After dinner, Eun-yi and Miss Cho eat from the excessive leftovers from the family meal. Moments later, the father of the house, Hoon, returns from work. Miss Cho introduces Eun-yi, and Hoon welcomes her kindly. Before heading upstairs, he instructs Miss Cho to send up a bottle of wine. She prepares the tray and has Eun-yi deliver it. Downstairs, the couple briefly discusses Eun-yi's background, noting her degree in early childhood education and how suitable she might be for handling children. That night, as Eun-yi prepares to sleep, Nami asks her to leave the bedroom door slightly open so she will not feel scared. Eun-yi agrees, then returns to her own room, which is adjacent to Nami's. The next morning, Eun-yi joins Miss Cho in preparing breakfast. She carries a tray to Hoon's piano room. While setting the food down, she steals subtle glances at him. Once Hoon leaves for work, she helps Hae-ra bathe and do some pedicure. Later in the evening, she goes to clean the master bathroom before Hoon returns. However, while she is scrubbing, Hoon walks in, unaware she is inside. He pauses at the sight, lingering on her exposed thighs with unmistakable lust. One day, the family takes a short vacation and brings Eun-yi along. While the couple and their daughter enjoy a steam bath together, Eun-yi hops into the pool and enjoys the water. That night, Hoon attempts intimacy with Hae-ra, but her pregnancy makes her uncomfortable. They stop midway, and she settles for pleasing him in a different way. Elsewhere, Eun-yi sits on her bed using her laptop when she hears footsteps outside her room. Assuming it is Nami, she calls out casually, only to realize it's Hoon. She scrambles to throw on her top and pulls a blanket over her body. He silences her with a gesture and hands her a glass of wine. He instructs her to remove the blanket before running his hands over her body. Eun-yi does not resist but instead responds willingly. They sleep together without hesitation or concern for consequences. By morning, they return home as though nothing has happened. Despite the affair, Eun-yi remains warm and attentive toward the unsuspecting Hae-ra, even accepting her gratitude for being so diligent. Around the house, she and Hoon maintain a facade of normalcy while trading stolen glances. Their secret encounter becomes a pattern. They continue sneaking around whenever possible, unfazed by the risk of being discovered. One evening, Hoon hands Eun-yi an envelope of cash. She immediately gives it to Miss Cho, who snatches it and walks off without a word. Her growing suspicion is confirmed by the way Hoon watches and treats Eun-yi, and now the unexplained gift only reinforces her suspicion. That night, Hoon sneaks into Eun-yi's room after checking on Nami, and they sleep together again. Unbeknownst to them, Miss Cho is awake. She overhears their muffled intimacy and recoils in disgust. The next morning, she watches Eun-yi closely, noting the light makeup and teenage-like excitement of someone newly infatuated. When Eun-yi brings Hoon his breakfast in the piano room, Miss Cho lingers outside spying on her. Eun-yi sets the tray down with extra care, smiling at Hoon while trying to appear attractive. He signals her over and offers her a check, which she accepts eagerly before hurrying out. Miss Cho catches her staring at it in the stairs before she quickly hides it away. Later, Eun-yi massages Hae-ra. When the unborn twins kick, Eun-yi marvels at the force of it, gushing over the moment with genuine fascination. To Miss Cho, who is watching from nearby, the sight is unbearable. Seeing Eun-yi act affectionate and innocent with Hae-ra while secretly sleeping with her husband fills her with disgust. After the day's work, Miss Cho strikes up a seemingly casual conversation. She asks about Eun-yi's love life. Eun-yi dismisses the idea of a relationship, claiming no man out there is currently worth her time. Miss Cho shifts the subject to the nature of their work, calling it degrading and shameless, and questions how long she intends to stay. Eun-yi responds with unguarded enthusiasm, confessing that she loves her job. Unable to keep the affair to herself any longer, Miss Cho confides in Hae-ra's mother, Mi-hee. She tells her she suspects Eun-yi is pregnant, likely with Hoon's child, since Eun-yi claims she has no boyfriend. Mi-hee decides to handle the matter personally. Meanwhile, Eun-yi meets with her friend and reveals her situation with Hoon. Her friend questions why she did not resist. Eun-yi admits she wanted it as much as he did, leaving her friend stunned. She urges Eun-yi to quit the job immediately, but leaving is the last thing on Eun-yi's mind. The following day, while Eun-yi is on a ladder dusting the chandelier, Nami watches from below. Just then, Mi-hee and Hae-ra walk past. Mi-hee deliberately bumps the ladder, causing it to shake. Eun-yi falls off but clings desperately to the chandelier, screaming for help. Hae-ra and even Nami attempt to assist, but Mi-hee blocks them from intervening. Eun-yi loses her grip and falls from the second floor. She is rushed to the hospital. Fortunately, she only suffered a mild concussion. However, during a series of medical tests, it is revealed that she is pregnant. The entire incident had been orchestrated by Mi-hee. She staged an accident to land Eun-yi in the hospital, hoping they'll somehow confirm if she's truly pregnant so she can deal with it quietly before it becomes known. Hae-ra is furious, not just over the reckless stunt, but for staging it in front of her daughter. Mi-hee remains unapologetic and drops the bombshell. Hoon has been sleeping with Eun-yi, and the baby is his. Hae-ra is left stunned, struggling to process the betrayal. Mi-hee coldly reminds her that infidelity is one of the inevitable costs of marrying a wealthy man. Miss Cho visits Eun-yi in the hospital with flowers, claiming they are from Mi-hee. She conveys an apology for the incident and hands her an envelope of cash as compensation. That night, Hoon returns home unaware of everything that transpired. Noticing Eun-yi's absence, he asks Miss Cho where she is. She replies simply that Eun-yi is in the hospital and unwell. At the same time, Hae-ra simmers with resentment toward Miss Cho for bypassing her and going straight to her mother. Hoon finds her attitude amusing, assuming it is pregnancy hormones, not realizing it is the smoke rising from the fire he started. The morning after her discharge, Eun-yi speaks with her friend about the pregnancy. She wonders if an abortion would be the best option. Her friend advises her to leave the household first, regardless of her decision, emphasizing that she is not safe there. Later, the friend accompanies her back to the mansion. Before leaving, she leaves Eun-yi with some herbal medicine to aid her recovery. Inside, Mi-hee greets them with a display of false sympathy, smiling coldly while she, Hae-ra, and Miss Cho maintain the illusion that all is well. Hae-ra remains in disbelief that her husband could lower himself to sleeping with a housemaid. She questions what he could have possibly seen in Eun-yi. Mi-hee tells her not to resent her husband. Hoon was raised to take whatever he wanted without consequence. The men in Hoon's family are all like that. Even Hoon's mother suffered the same. But now she's revered and living like a queen. Mi-hee urges her to endure, and one day she too will live like a queen. The only rule is to never allow another woman to challenge her place. Mi-hee vows to stay and handle the matter herself. With Hoon away on a business trip, they have the perfect window to act. That night, Hae-ra enters Eun-yi's room with a golf club in hand. She raises it, ready to strike Eun-yi's head as she sleeps, but she is unable to go through with it. Miss Cho, watching from the hallway, witnesses the moment of internal conflict. Hae-ra, overwhelmed with frustration, drops the club onto Miss Cho's chest before storming off. The next morning, Eun-yi tells Miss Cho she is considering resigning, but plans to wait until a replacement is hired. Fearing for her safety, Miss Cho urges her to leave immediately, insisting that no one in the family would object. But Eun-yi, too naive to grasp the urgency in her tone, hesitates. Later that day, Hae-ra and Mi-hee summon Eun-yi to the master bedroom. Without warning, Hye-ra strikes her across the face. Unaware they know about the affair, Eun-yi reacts defensively, but the truth soon dawns on her. Shame quickly replaces her defiance. She lowers her head and asks for forgiveness. Mi-hee then hands her a check for a substantial amount, demanding she terminate the pregnancy and disappear so they can all move on as if nothing happened. Hye-ra, however, doubts Eun-yi would ever agree to give up her unborn child, having witnessed how tenderly she interacted with Nami and her own babies. Meanwhile, Eun-yi retreats to her room, and Miss Cho brings her ice for her bruised face. Eun-yi regrets her actions, lamenting that she never considered Hye-ra's feelings. Miss Cho snaps in anger, insisting it was Hoon who should have thought of that, not her. She scolds Eun-yi for standing there and allowing herself to be struck so easily. Miss Cho asks Eun-yi what she plans to do, but she doesn't know her next step. After Miss Cho leaves, Nami appears and apologizes for her grandmother's actions, knowing the fall was intentional. She insists Eun-yi does not deserve such treatment because she is a good person. Her words melts Eun-yi's heart. Unwilling to leave anything to chance, Hye-ra takes matters into her own hands by slipping in tampered pouches into Eun-yi's herbal medicine to induce a miscarriage. She orders Miss Cho to move Eun-yi into her room and watch her closely. While preparing to go to the hospital for her delivery, Nami visits Eun-yi to say goodbye. She learns that a new nanny will replace Eun-yi soon, and she asks why. Eun-yi reveals that she is pregnant. She briefly considers telling Nami the child is her sibling, but they are interrupted when Mi-hee calls for Nami. Once the family departs, Miss Cho exhales in relief and treats herself to a brief moment of relaxation. Eventually, Eun-yi decides to keep the baby. Still worried, Miss Cho warns her again that the family is dangerous and will not stop until they get what they want. Despite her loyalty to her employers, she cannot help but look out for Eun-yi. Meanwhile, Hoon returns from his business trip and goes straight to the hospital to meet Hye-ra and the twins. After taking a family photo, he prepares to leave to freshen up at home before returning. When he leans in to kiss Hye-ra, she bites his lip hard, leaving him startled and irritated. He storms home only to find Eun-yi soaking in the master bathtub. Infuriated, he demands to know what she is doing there. She calmly claims she feels unwell, and even invites him to join her, which he finds absurd. She then informs him that she is pregnant with his child, and that his family is paying her to do away with it. Miss Cho appears as Eun-yi declares that she intends to keep the baby. Suddenly, Eun-yi feels a sharp pain in her abdomen and begins vomiting blood. Moments later, she starts bleeding. Through her agony, she reiterates her desire to keep the child as if seeking Hoon's approval, promising not to cause any trouble. Hoon reluctantly agrees. Hoon and Miss Cho soon realize that her medicine may have been tampered with. Later, in the piano room, Hoon confronts Mi-hee about what happened. She initially feigns ignorance, but he sees through her. Cornered, she admits responsibility for Eun-yi's condition. He demands to know what right she had to interfere with his child, insisting that the baby was his regardless of who carried it. Meanwhile, Eun-yi is taken to the family's hospital, where they terminate the pregnancy without her consent. The fetus is completely erased. Throughout the procedure, Miss Cho silently weeps, devastated that things have escalated so far. Afterward, she sits beside Eun-yi's bed, attempting to offer comfort. In conversation, she reveals that she was the one who informed Mi-hee about the pregnancy. Enraged, Eun-yi strikes her across the face. Instead of retaliating, Miss Cho accepts the blow, apologizing with genuine regret. Eun-yi vows to seek revenge for everything the family has taken from her. Eun-yi returns to her old apartment, where her friend tries to console her. But she remains hollow, trapped in grief and fury. She curls up on the bed, sobbing uncontrollably. Days later, she returns to the mansion. Miss Cho lets her in quietly. Eun-yi walks straight to the twins' nursery. She lifts one of the newborns and begins breastfeeding him. The soft fussing draws Hoon to the room. He freezes at the sight, horrified. Moving slowly, he retrieves the child from her arms. Unbothered, she picks up the other twin and begins nursing him as well. Scared that she might hurt the baby, he carefully asks her to hand over the child, and she hands him over mindlessly. Clutching both infants, he edges away while calling for Hye-ra. Eun-yi skips out of the nursery with childlike glee. The entire family gathers in the living room. Hye-ra orders Miss Cho to throw her out, But Miss Cho, composed as always, announces that she is quitting and already packed. She is done with their chaos. Suddenly, Eun-yi appears on the second floor. She starts discussing with Nami. When the little girl innocently asks about the baby in her tummy, Eun-yi tells her the baby is gone. Nami asks what happened, but Eun-yi only stares down at her parents in silence. Miss Cho pleads with her to leave the house with her and forget whatever she's planning, but Eun-yi says she can't get what they did to her out of her head. Even Hoon steps in, promising to make things right in his own way, but Eun-yi only scoffs at him. She then apologizes to Nami and her twin brothers for what she's about to do. She tells Nami never to forget her. Then, before anyone can react, she climbs over the railing and hangs herself on the chandelier, the same one she once clung to for her life. The family watches in shock as Eun-yi suffocates. While they grapple with the shock of her suicide, she sets herself ablaze, leaving them traumatized. Eun-yi burns while suspended above them, dangling in the air. Miss Cho, emotionless as ever, turns and walks away. The family scrambles out of the house. Through the front door's glass, Nami stands motionless, watching Eun-yi's burning, swinging body without a flicker of emotion before her father carries her away. In the closing scene, Hoon and Hae-ra celebrate Nami's birthday outdoors. The celebration feels hollow. There's no cake or goodies in sight. Hae-ra, clearly unhinged, drunkenly sings a birthday song. After a toast, Hoon pours champagne into Nami's glass. While her parents sip their wine, Nami quietly steps away, staring blankly into the distance. If that story left your heart racing and your mind spinning, you already know what to do. Hit subscribe and join us for more dark, emotional, and unforgettable Asian movie recaps. New twists, deeper secrets, every week. Don't just watch the story, live the madness. Subscribe now.